All right, we're here for the External Bum Show. Good morning. Here's some Chicago for you on Saturday in the Park, because it's another Saturday morning of the External Bum Show. I'm Ralph Williams, along with Scott Morganroth, and also with Leo Haggerty. And as soon as I get this banner off of here, we're going to be, there we go. All right, let's see if I can get it off of here. There we go. All right. And we have Candy Ebling filling in this morning for Jeremy Ballrich, who is sort of missing in action. But, I understand. So, we're an understanding group here. So, all right. We're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studio, 724-2010-500. Good news. Mata just signed with us as of yesterday. So Mata will be with us for another year as our studio sponsor. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, 724-2010-500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. All right, we're getting ready to get into our introductions here, so everyone can introduce themselves across the board. And we'll start with you, Scott Morganroth.
All right, Ralph, thank you very much. Scott Morganroth, Motor City Mad Mouse. You can subscribe to my YouTube channels at Tribune South. That's on. Wait, subscribe to my YouTube channel, South Florida Tribune. I was going a couple different directions there. All right, let's try it again. My YouTube channel is South Florida Tribune. No cost to subscribe. Just go to YouTube. Okay. And now Twitter is at Tribune South, and of course our website is www.southfloridatribune.com. But the YouTube channel, we're getting a lot of good subscribers on there that participate, and of course, yes, you got it. Lessons from the microphone, tuning into the enduring wisdom of visionary leaders by yours truly. Talks about old school media versus new school media as well. So, good book for students. Good book for anybody that just simply wants to learn about the media. I went to a little event last night. Everybody was, they were getting on the case of mainstream media, but nobody knew who Frank Reynolds was, and they didn't know a lot of the old timers. I'm laughing at these people. Said, how can you criticize something you don't know anything about, even though it's changed a little bit? Well, which is all the more reason why I built the book and wrote it in that such manner. So there you got it. YouTube channel, South Florida Tribune, and the book itself. So great stuff.
All right. Thank you, Scott. Right below me is Candy Ebling, who's filling in today for Jeremy Ballrich. Candy, how are you this morning? And give us your information.
I'm doing well. My name is Candy Ebling. I'm with the South Florida Tribune as well, filling in for Mr. Jeremy. I don't know where he is. He must have decided to sleep in this morning. But Scott wrote a book. That's an awesome book to get. Go to our YouTube channel, South Florida Tribune YouTube. We have a website, www.southfloridatribune.com as well.
All right. Leo Haggerty. Good morning, Leo. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We'll start with your introduction.
Yeah, Amped Up Sports on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and go to ampedupsports.com and you can catch our written content. We got Ryan Neal talking about LSU. In fact, we got our two photographers, Kelly Champion and Bill Smith, down at Texas A&M this weekend for the LSU Texas A&M game. And I got Rob Crete, who's our baseball analyst. He talking about the World Series, which is, but you know what, guys? It's one of the few times of the year where all four major sports are competing. It's not for long, but they're there.
All right. Let's see. It says, Josh says, my bum is Scott's microphone for not being clear today. Whatever that was, we got to clear it up. Scotty Slapper.
Well, no, actually, my microphone is fine. I think my wife was having technical problems, but I'll give you a pass on that, Josh, for some of the interesting comments that you post in these chats that are about as relevant as a dog in a litter box.
Well, I would say the reason why is I was not scheduled to come on this morning, but when Jeremy didn't show up on the last minute fill-in, we were in the same room. That's why your microphone wasn't, and there was feedback on. That's why it didn't sound right. But thanks, Josh, for tuning in.
Yeah, good morning, Josh. As well, thank you for being part of the program through the comment section. We're also simulcasted here on the YouTube channel for South Florida Tribune also as well. So, and then usually when Jeremy's here, we're on the kneecap fighting as well. What's going on? Says Josh. All right, Josh. What's going on? It's the External Bum Show. That's what's going on. All right, next we're going to have our bum segment here where we're going to tell who our bums are. And it's brought to you by Scott's book, Lessons to the Microphone. Enduring Wisdom and Visionary Leaders, Scott Morganroth's book. Pick it up at Barnes & Noble and through his publisher, as well as Amazon. I got mine through Amazon. So there's where you can go for that. And we're going to get ready for our bum segment. Candy, since you're the guest today, we're going to start with you. Who's your bum for today?
My bum are these officials that can't get the calls right. Let's face it. If you were watching the game Thursday night against the Minnesota Vikings, last play, that definitely was a face mask call, and it was not called. There's no reason for that. I'm sorry. The officials have to get some of those calls right, especially when it's concerning player safety. That was unbelievable because you could totally tell that it had happened. And the officials, as difficult as a job as they have, player safety has to be number one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You don't know how many times I've seen some wicked calls, that never got called, penalties of any kind. It happens all the time in the pit games. ACC officials, I think, are the worst. Every time. I don't know if it's because Pat Narduzzi's always arguing with the official in every game and calls him out. I don't know, but we'll see. But it's like that all the time. Leo Haggerty, how are you, Leo? Who's your bum today?
My bum, head and shoulders above everything this week, is the WNBA. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the championship game 5 between the Minnesota Lynx and the New York Liberty, but Ralph, I thought I was watching the WWE because that outcome was decided before that game even started. They were going to find a way for the Liberty to win. Wow. At the end of the game, and everybody needs to Google this last play of regulation. Breanna Stewart travels. She literally takes 4 steps with the ball. LeBron would have got called for a travel. Then she shoots and misses, and the phantom foul whistle comes out. Minnesota challenges it. Say, there's no foul. She didn't even touch her. Referee comes on and says, challenge is disallowed. Player was not in a legal guarding position. She didn't touch anybody. Minnesota gets beat in overtime. Obviously, this game was rigged. It reminds me so much, Scott, of Seattle and Pittsburgh out in Detroit when the Seahawks had one stolen because they wanted to get the bus a ring. That's the closest thing I've seen to having the fix in. That was terrible. The WNBA, you've been my bum all week. This definitely locks it in.
All right, Morganroth.
So, Leo, is it my understanding that the WNBA lost $40 million this year?
Yeah.
They did. Just think what they would have lost if Caitlin Clark wasn't there.
I know. I just want to
or
make
Angel Reese.
So what I'm trying to do, Leo, is I'm trying to pad your bum.
Hold on, wait a second. There you go.
I knew that was coming.
There you go. I'm trying to pad your bum, Leo. I'm trying to make it look better.
It's just it's embarrassing.
Oh.
The way the WNBA has handled this by one, not getting their players in line and killing the Golden Goose, literally.
Well, you know what? I don't cover it anyway, so I don't really care about the WNBA. But what I do care about is what my bum is, Woody Johnson, the owner of the New York Jets. Okay, so we thought firing Robert Saleh was the answer to the Jets' woes. Okay. We thought trading Zach Wilson away was the answer to the Jets' woes. So now, meanwhile, Brett Favre is sitting on a 2-5 record, right? Okay, so we're not really that good shape. Well, let's get him Devontae Adams too. Meanwhile, Robert Saleh goes from Gangrene to Green Bay Green. And now he's a consultant for the Green Bay Packers because I think him and Mike LaFleur, was he Mike LaFleur his best man at the wedding? I believe, right? It goes
Yeah.
Matt
the other
LaFleur.
way around. So now, Salah's getting $20,000 a day to be a part of a different set of green, okay, while the New York Jets are blue in the face. So, in an area known for Broadway and drama, okay, what kind of changes you going to make next, Jets? We got Devontae, we got rid of Salah. Zach Wilson was supposed to be the heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers. Didn't like him. Devontae Adams, is he going to be a savior? I don't know. Who knows? To me, the way it looks, one of my favorite words over at Toastmasters, okay, is that the Jets, to me, are an absolute dysfunctional mess, and that's the reason why they haven't been in the playoffs in 13 years. And the commonality is Woody Johnson. Goodness.
Absolutely.
Everybody used to tell the Lions William Clay Ford to sell the team, but he never did. Ultimately, it got in the hands of his daughter. We know how well they're doing now. But Woody Johnson is an absolute travesty to have a team in the number one media market in the country.
Oh, absolutely. It's sad to hear about the Jets and the state of them and the state of the Giants too. They're not doing any better. And the interesting thing is Steelers play both of them. We just beat the Jets and now we're playing the Giants on Monday night. So that's going to be an interesting setup. All right. My bums, in fact, I have two of them today. My first bum is I'm going to follow up on Candy's with officiating, the ACC officiating. Syracuse got away with a bunch of stuff, late hits. They got away with some pushing our player or tackling out of bounds, starting fights on the sideline with our players when they came out of bounds. Nothing was done. Nothing was said about it. But every time Pitt does something like that, the officials are on top of it. And Heather Lyke, the former athletic director, was supposed to go and clean this up, or at least try to make some kind of an attempt to try to do something about this. She did nothing. And so we'll see what her replacement, Alan Green, does, because he's from Tennessee, and I know he's not going to take this kind of job coming from this officiating crew with the ACC, and stuff like that. So, but my next bum is Jamal Williams. This guy was very irresponsible, not keeping track of his meds, not keeping track of his doctor, who was actually supposed to keep track of his meds. Sometimes you have to police your doctor and make sure that you're getting the right medication and things like that. He trusted this guy. I always make sure I have the right medications. I make sure the pharmacist fills it properly. I make sure it's the right medication. That's with my health. This affects somebody's health. And now Jamal Williams is a little thin in the wallet because he's been suspended, and then they appealed it. I'm not sure if it's going to continue or not. But anyway, that's he's my bum, and his doctor also is included in this for not really telling him what's going on. But he should have policed this, and this stuff would not have happened.
And now my new bum is Ralph Williams, because there's no Jamal Williams, it's Jameson Williams. Get it figured out.
Yeah, I was told it was Jamal Williams.
Well, no, it's from who? Santa Claus?
No. Jeremy
Seriously?
Thursday was Jamal Williams.
No, Jameson. You got the right. You got the right consonant, but you got the wrong name. And in our industry in journalism, which I hold everybody accountable for, seriously, really, factual error. You cannot do that if you've read that book. But you know what? It's Jameson Williams. It is
like
what
Jameson Winston.
Yeah, well, Jameson Winston, but spelled way differently. So, yeah. Ralph, I guess I have a little bit more work to do with you on the journalism front about getting it right.
Yeah, I got it. No problem.
You got it. All right, Ralph. As long as you got it, you got it.
Will not happen again. So, all right. Now, our next segment is brought to you in part by Digital Data. Go to digitaldata.com. Get a hold of them today. Get on a chat with them. If you need a website created, they created my website, www.rwmediaproductions.com. It's anything anything you need done from them. Great customer service at a low monthly price. Call them today or get a hold of them today, digitaldata.com. All right, everybody. We know about the tragedy of the men's basketball coach for South Florida basketball team. And I know that Scott and Leo are very close, and so and Candy taking pictures, and Scott interviews, and Leo doing interviews, and his press conferences and things like that. Scott, we're going to let you start first. I know you have some words to say in regards to this guy. I don't know the guy very well, but I feel bad for his family. My condolences to his family and to the South Florida program. Go ahead, Scott.
All right. Well, Amir, let's see, Abdul Rahim, right?
Right.
To me, I had an opportunity to meet him this spring. I went to a game with FAU against USF. To me, it will go down as one of the best events that I've gone to all year in 2024. Why? Number one, I cover the Owls, but I graduated from the University of South Florida. I think I was only in that building one time. The Sun Dome, as I'll always call it. I don't care what they call it these days. They're not paying me to talk about the sponsor names. I'll call it the Sun Dome for all intents and purposes. But, okay, that day went so well for me where I had an opportunity to walk on that floor knowing that there was a seat and I was waiting to get my degree there. Then I go into the media room, and what happens? Got an opportunity to do a one-on-one interview with athletic director Michael Kelly. Doesn't get any better than that, right, Leo? After all, why not talk to the athletic director of the school, which has to be your alma mater? And whatever I need, Brian Segrest always usually gets it for me anyway. So he goes down as one of the best PR guys I've ever worked with. But to cap it off, press conference. Coach, got a couple questions in with him, saw how he was bringing this program to respectability. They ended up winning their first regular season title in the conference and put 25 wins up, got to the NCAA. And, everybody felt good that now the USF Bulls got it right with the coach. Boy, was there good feelings about it. When you consider how many coaches have come and gone and left the Sun Dome, now we finally got it right. Okay, even FAU lost their coach, but leaving FAU to the big block at Michigan isn't the worst thing in the world for the Owls, because you don't get any bigger than Michigan in terms of college athletics. Back to USF. This is the worst type of one-on-one, one and done that you can ever have. You're bringing a coach who has great expectations, and he showed it in his first year, but unfortunately, he didn't make it to tip off this year because he was in the hospital having a procedure that ultimately had complications and caused him to pass away at 43. When I spent the 10 minutes that I spent with Coach, had a very infectious personality, one of the nicest people I've ever met, really was. And if a picture isn't worth 1,000 words, then the one I had with Coach Amir Abdur Rahim was worth millions of words. And I just want to say, Coach, you're up in heaven. Rest in peace. It was so great to meet you. It's just too bad we didn't have a lot more of you. God love you, and you made this alumnus proud to be part of the University of South Florida. And the name is appropriately named after me anyways, the Bulls. If you don't believe me, ask my sister-in-law, Marie Shepik, although that has Raging Bulls on it. Kidding. It's a family joke. Okay. But God love you, Coach. We just wish we would have had a whole lot more of you. And I hope that USF finds a way to grieve through it, and maybe there's an internal candidate from the staff that will do the best they can to keep it going. I don't know enough about that, but my colleague Leo will be more equipped to address it. But God bless you, Coach. It was just great to meet you one time at least, and we know what could have been. Rest in peace, Coach.
Thank you, Scott. That was very good. That's very nice.
The side of me that most people don't see. The side of me that usually sees it really and seriously, but not this time.
Right. Okay, Leo Haggerty.
Guys, to say I was in shock, I was walking down to Emily Arena for the hockey game when Peter Blake called me and said, "What's going on?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "They're reporting that Coach Amir has passed." I said, "Hold on, let me check." I immediately called my photographer, Trace Crisp. I said, "Trace, I can't follow up on this. I'm walking into the arena. Can you text Brian Segrist and find out if this is a joke or what's going on?" 1 minute later, he got back to me and said, "No, it's true." And there's a lot of things going on right now that can't be verified. The only thing we know is what they put out, and that's that he was having a procedure at the hospital and there were complications. I'm going to take you back to the first home game, game number 1 of Coach Amir's tenure at USF. I am literally, and this is a sad thing because it happened more than once, I'm the only outside reporter, other than USF people, that are at the contest. I asked Coach afterwards, I said, "Coach, what's your goal for this year?" And he has this little wry smile on his face, and Scott knows what I'm talking about. And he looks me right in the eye and says, "When we win the league championship and cut down the nets, I'm going to give you a piece." Right away, all I could think of is this guy's delusional. They were 7-11 last year. They were 14-18. They're picked middle of the pack at best, and he's talking about winning a championship. And believe me, it starts badly. They're 2-4. Going to Florida State to play in the Orange Bowl Classic down near you, Scott. I don't know if you covered that or not.
No, I didn't.
But they beat Florida State and go on a 6-game winning streak. They lose at UAB and then win 15 in a row. They are 21-1 over a 22-game schedule right then. They win the AAC. The people who should really feel bad about his passing is the NCAA selection committee who snubbed South Florida, didn't let them into the dance. That was an embarrassment for that committee. Florida State got screwed with football. USF got screwed with basketball. But he would always start his press conference with giving glory to God. He was a very righteous man, a very religious man, and he did give me a piece of that net.
Oh.
I have it right on my table. I'm looking at it right now, and I'll tell you what. I can't say rest in peace, Coach Amir. I have to say rest in peace, Mike. We're going to miss you. We're going to miss you a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a really sad day for a lot of fans of the program and a lot of the student body and the whole entire University of South Florida as well. Candy, your thoughts on
You disagree, agree with me on that? This could be a program crusher.
Oh, I think so too.
But then it could be an inspiration. I mean, it really could. I've seen times when coaches have passed and the team stepped up. And we just had a high school football coach, well-known guy, Jerry Hazlitt, passed away right before the season started for Alderdice High School. And now Alderdice is in the City League Championship with their assistant coach, and they made it an inspiration. I mean, he passed away on his way to practice. And, 53 years old, he had a heart attack and died. So, I mean, it could be an inspiration.
We'll but you know what? As much as I want to believe that it will be an inspiration, right now, I don't know whether USF has even thought about the successor yet, because I think our entire community is stunned by it. And maybe the only chance you have where it can be an inspiration is if you bring one of his assistant coaches that has been with him a long time. I don't know how long a long time would be, because I know he's only at Kennesaw State for a short period of time. But you know what? The problem with USF basketball is if it's had any luck at all, it's been bad luck. And I hope they're right. I know that when I was there at the Sun Dome for the FAU game, to see 10, 11,000 people in that building was something I never saw back in the early 80s. And it was electric. It just was absolutely electric. And I thought, I'd never see it in my wildest dreams, but I did. Any more so than I saw FAU fill the building as well with Dusty May. And when you go to these mid-major programs and you're seeing buildings filled and you never thought it would happen, that's the part that really gets into you. So program crusher, you know, I hope, Leo, you're wrong, but it wouldn't surprise me if it is. It all depends on the succession plan, and we haven't heard anything about it yet.
And you know what, Scott, you're spot on with this. Michael Kelly has to make a decision. Does he go, which he probably will, with one of the assistant coaches because it's so late? They're up in a week. Do you go with the guy thinking, okay, he's just going to be a stand-in, we get through the year and then look? Or are we looking for somebody like a Steve Fisher, who ended up taking Michigan to a national championship after he got rid of Bill Frieder?
Right.
Kept him on. That's a big decision that Michael Kelly has. He's got to sit and figure out, okay, whoever this guy is he a temp or is he somebody we're going to keep around? Because that will, you know, that'll scream volumes as to what's happening, and it'll also scream volumes as to how they play.
Yeah, no question about it.
All right, Katie Evelyn, your thoughts on this? Sorry, we didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So I was first introduced, obviously, to him last year. Let's face it, he took Tennessee State to the first time ever to March Madness in 2023. And then he came to USF. He brought such enthusiasm. And he was down to earth, like in his press conference. He was down to earth. He was very friendly. Yes, he talked about God, which was great to see. But he just made you feel like you were the most important thing there. Like when you talked to him, he was truly engaged with you. And there are some coaches that talk to the media and they're just talking and spewing whatever they want to spew. But he actually talked to you. He made you feel important, and that whatever question it was, you know, it was an important question and he wanted to answer it. He thought about his answer, and then he coached those guys. You could tell how much love they had. And the university, like when we went to the game, it was packed house. They were all cheering. There was just an excitement level that they had for that program. And it was the first time the Bulls were guided to 25 wins and the school's first ever ranking in the Associated Press pool. So to replace a guy that made such an impactful change in that program in such a short time frame is going to be really, really hard. He's got a huge, daunting task. And like Leo said, it's so late in the game to really find a really good replacement is going to be hard. And like Leo said, he's going to have to decide, is whoever he has in there, is it an interim basis or is it going to be a permanent basis? Because that's going to be a key decision. It's so late in the game.
Well,
but rest in peace. He also leaves 3 kids and a family, and that's really unfortunate. So I feel bad for his family, all of South Florida.
That's some huge grief there.
Yeah. Ironically,
all right.
Ironically, USF takes on FAU next Friday night here in Boca Raton. So I'll see if I have any more to work with then. I doubt it. I will. I mean, I look forward to seeing Brian and of course the Bulls, but I don't know. FAU has a different set of problems of their own. They can't beat anybody worth anything.
All right. Let's move on to our next topic, Major League Baseball. we're going to be talking shortly here. Brought to you in part by Robin Campbell Insurance, 412-366-3399. Robin Campbell Farmers Insurance, Bristol West. Any kind of insurance you need, call Farmers today. I urge you, and I say this 1,000 times over, and I'm going to keep on saying it until everyone gets it. Renters Insurance, please call Robin today and get it. It's not that expensive monthly, and it'll cover you if there's a fire. We had one here in our building about a month ago, and a lot of the people here did not have renters insurance. I preach it, and I will continue to do so. Please get renters insurance. Okay, do not trust your landlord. If your landlord tells you that they have insurance, please get it so that you're covered. All right, 366-3399, area code 412. All right. Also, don't forget about the studio sponsor, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, 724-2010-500, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. And don't forget this afternoon, 2 to 3 p.m. on 1250 AM, 92.5 FM, The Answer with me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. Next week on the show, we have Amani Christian, undefeated Amani Christian, soon to win a championship. Amani Christian High School coach Leroy Johnson. He will join us next week for the show. So don't forget to tune into that. And also on November 9th, starting November 9th, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., right before this show. Then we'll go into this show. And then later on the radio show. So it's going to be a triple dose of Ralph. 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., 1250 a.m., 92.5 The Answer. The Ralph Williams Show, my guest will be Jay Kalk from the Allegheny Institute of Public Policy. We're going to talk about Pittsburgh Public Schools. And then later on in the show, Tony Moreno, former Republican candidate for mayor of the city of Pittsburgh. We're going to talk about this police chief debacle and a whole lot more with Tony Moreno. All right. Guys, everyone, Major League Baseball, New York Yankees versus the LA Dodgers. Candy, we'll start with you. Your thoughts on this World Series?
You know, it's a star power of hitters in this series, and it proved it last night. You know, and it has to do with speed. Here we go. What an ending to the game! Like, to take the first game in the World Series and take it to extra innings. You know, Jazz Chisholm, former Miami Marlins, stole second, stole third, scored. Yankees went up, and then the Dodgers came up because they were home field advantage. And here's where, strategically, did he make the right call or not walking Mookie Betts? There was people on base. We pitch? We just pitched to Shohei. Shohei popped it up. The third baseman made a really good play, really good catch in foul territory for him to be out. But that advanced the runners to second and third. And then you have the question, do we walk Mookie Betts or do we let him hit? Well, we decide to walk Mookie Betts and to pitch to Freddie Freeman with 2 outs. And what does he do with the first pitch? He nailed it. So we can always, hindsight is always 20/20. Should he have pitched to Mookie? Should he not have? It doesn't really matter at this point. But the Dodgers took the first game. This is going to be, I think this is going to be a really good series. I think it's going to go 7. I think there's going to be a lot of hitting. There is some good pitching, obviously, because it was a low-scoring game. But I'm excited to see it. Am I excited for the teams that are in there? No, they're not my team. It's a coast-to-coast, but it's the best outcome from MLB's perspective, for media coverage, because they're going to have tons and tons of media coverage. You're going to see worldwide numbers. They're saying the betting numbers are out of this world, because you've got Shohei Ohtani and you've got Japan and both coasts. And so it was the best outcome that MLB could have, and then to have a good first game like they did, that's only going to enhance the ratings.
All right, Scott Morganroth.
When is Halloween? 5 days from now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think the costume that Freddie Freeman had on was one of Kirk Gibson, because we had a game one moment back in 1988 where Kirk Gibson in Dodger Stadium hit the game winning home run to end it. My goodness. Turn the clock up, Back to the Future, Back to the Past, and Freddie Freeman goes deep. Candy alluded to the fact that Mookie Betts was intentionally walked. So if you're looking for a free run, Mookie, you definitely got one, because Freddie Freeman hit it deep, deep, deep. And as a result, the Dodgers are up 6-3. But I think the Yankees have got to hope for just a split out in LA. That's all you go for when you're on the road. Win one of two. And how will Aaron Boone manage differently? Well, I don't know. It's a tough series to manage because you have so many great hitters. You really do. Every manager's going to look good on the big stage and everyone's going to look bad. But I expect this to go long, the series to be 7. And I'm going to stand by my prediction. I still believe the Yankees are going to win it in 7.
All right, Leo Haggerty.
I'll tell you what, Scott brings up a great point about Kirk Gibson. The only question was, could Kirk Gibson circle the bases as badly hurt as he was after he hit the home run? So, yeah, that was another aha moment for Major League Baseball. If this goes 6, I think the Yankees win. They got to win it in 6. If it's game 7 in LA, I don't see them winning that one. That's going to be tough, because after having a 4-day rest period to get your pitching just where you want it, you've got the 2 best teams regular season in the 2 best media markets. MLB couldn't have woken up at the beginning of the season and say, hey, Dodgers, Yankees, this is what we want. So, yeah, everything is there. You've got people you want to tune in and watch. You got, Judge, you got Stanton, you got Soto, you got Ohtani, you got Betts, you got Freeman. It's going to be a watchable series. Not too many times we'll be able to say that about baseball. But the big problem is, we saw what happened with Kirk Gibson with the A's. It took the life out of the A's, losing that one. The Yankees bounce back and win game 2. They want to go back 0-2. I agree with that.
Well, let's face the reality, okay? We all know the obvious cliche that this is happening in Hollywood, right? The Hollywood glamour. I mean, somebody on this panel has to give the obvious Hollywood moment. Candy can't quite do it yet because she hasn't been there, but when Candy sees the Hollywood sign one of these days, when she goes out there, she might be able to feel a little bit better about it. She'll get there eventually. But yeah, you got the big. I actually thought the Phillies were going to get to the World Series a while back when things were going well. You would have had a New York Philly series up by 95, but let's face the reality. The Dodgers have been playing well all year. They added Jack Flaherty at the trade deadline. He's done well for them. And Tigers didn't make out badly in that trade too. So they were able to obtain prospects. That was a win-win situation for both teams, but the Dodgers getting the immediate results. But this is a Hollywood moment, and you saw it last night. You know what's so good about the whole game, though, is I had an event before. I didn't get home until extra innings, so I missed the first 9, and all of a sudden, the only one that mattered was the 10th inning. It almost reminds me of an NBA game, right? You go out there and see it in the last 2 minutes. So I was able to see the most important part. I could take it off my DVR, get rid of it, and tape it again tonight when I'm with the Miami Hurricanes and the Florida State Seminoles later, and Michigan State. So my wife is going to have to go out there and double record 2 events so we can see them at some point.
All right, yeah, it's gonna be an interesting World Series. I think every game's gonna be pretty much a dogfight here. You have 2 evenly matched teams with a lot of talent, and we're gonna see where this World Series goes. We saw it last night. All right, next we're gonna talk about college football. We have some great matchups this week coming up, and that's brought to you by Draft Nation, DraftNation.com. DraftNation.com brings you up to speed on all, draft the coverage, football, hockey, baseball, basketball, any kind of draft. They also break down the skinny of all the athletes. And if you want all that information, you can get their draft magazine in your inbox, $9.99 a month. Excuse me, and they put it in your inbox. And I tell you what, it's some great information. They also have some great podcasts, great guests, draftnation.com.
Hey,
All right.
Before you go on, you've got to talk about that Pitt game last night. I mean,
Yes, it was. Oh, you mean the other night? Yes.
Yeah, and if I got this right, Pitt had 76 yards of total offense, but had like 28 points. It was crazy.
Yes. Well, the defense smothered McLeod. What they did was they kept they had two linebackers reading them. So that means wherever the pass was going, if it was going in one direction, one linebacker was reading them in the other one, which is really uncommon because you usually have one spy on them. They had two this time, and he kept throwing interceptions. We had him rattled, Cal McLeod, and so he did a really. I mean, he did what he could. But I will give Fran Brown some credit with Syracuse. They didn't fold their tent. Okay, I thought once we had that 31-0 lead at the halftime, they would fold their tent. They came out, they were going for it on fourth down, and they were very successful. And when you do something like that against a defense like Pitt's, and you're down by those points, that is a coach whose team he's 5-2, so he still has the rest of the season to go. One more game, he's bowl eligible. Fran Brown's doing a pretty decent job up at Syracuse, and kudos to them for not folding the tent. At least they tried. I mean, most teams would have just said, screw it, we're done, fold the tent. He didn't even go for field goals. He kept trying to go for touchdowns. So what I'm saying is, and I know he had to catch up, but you know what? You can't catch up at Heinz Field. But anyway, he had to, catch up. And I have to admit, Leo, and I will, that Syracuse actually, I got to give kudos to Fran Brown, their head coach, for sticking with it and not folding the tent. So, but your comments, Candy or Scott, on the Pitt game in Syracuse, if you're interested.
I don't have one.
Okay.
I'm gonna. Yeah, I didn't watch it. But kudos to them for scoring that many points without having a lot of yards.
Oh, yeah. So the offense only scored like 2 touchdowns and a field goal. So, I mean, the rest of the scoring was done by the defense, who just continued to step in front of the receivers, grabbing interceptions. It was just they kept them at bay. So, it was a good game.
Well, the reality is, Ralph, there's no set way to win a football game. Sometimes you have defensive victories, sometimes you have offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you win on special teams.
That's right.
I've seen games won on special teams. So, I mean, and it could take a last-minute field goal, block punt, anything. I mean,
as some guy that I distinctly hate says you play to win the game, I won't mention it because it'll cause me to have a rant. But you do play to win the game, and that's exactly what you end up doing.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk a little bit about college football a little bit before we get into the NFL. College football's got some great games today. Notre Dame versus Navy. I think that's going to be a really interesting game. And Florida State, despite the fact Florida State's having a bad year against your Miami Hurricanes, Scott, I think that's going to be one heck of a game right there. Your thoughts? We'll start with you, Candy. Florida State and Miami and Notre Dame Navy. I think Notre Dame Navy's the game that I'm looking at.
I would agree. The fact that we're going to be covering the Florida State Miami game, I'll be on the field taking pictures. Looking forward to that. I hope Coach Cristobal, and I believe he has, but I hope he has really prepared his team, because sometimes this can be a trap game. Because let's face it, these two teams play and they have a rivalry. They're in state, but for bragging rights within the state. Even if Florida State's having a bad year, they're going to bring their A-plus game because they're motivated. They always want to beat. For some reason, there's not a lot of love between Florida State, and the Hurricanes. They all bring their own set of agendas. But yes, so I hope that the Hurricanes not just the coaches, but the players don't overlook this game either, because Florida State wants to knock, whether they're having a good year or a bad year, they always want to knock their in-state rival. So I'm looking forward to that game. I'm also, and I'm going to throw another game out there. Not that I'm necessarily looking forward to it, but Penn State comes into Wisconsin, and Wisconsin's my team. They're not
Yes.
having a good year, and Penn State is on fire. They're third in the nation. So I hope my Badgers show up and give them a really good game.
Yeah, I'd like to see that as well. Leo, your thoughts on these college games too. Here's another one I'm going to throw at everybody: Nebraska, Ohio State. I'm interested also in Illinois and Oregon because Illinois is hot right now. I mean, they've actually built up. Brent Bielema has really built that team up over there, and he's got them in the top 20 for the first time in a while, and they're actually relevant a little bit. So I think that's going to be great. Okay, Scott, I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Well, number one, Miami, Florida State's always competitive. Miami's 7-0, and Florida State 1-6. It's possible that, okay, Florida State can keep it close, and everything that the Canes have played in conference has been close, regardless of their opponent. Maybe Florida State will be one of those type of situations. We'll find out. But I do believe that Mario Cristobal wants this thing in the worst way. He's already beat one Florida team, and he has championship aspirations, and he has a special quarterback in Cam Ward to do it. So I do feel that Miami will get a double-digit win here. It won't be easy because of the emotions involved when these two teams play. And I've seen them play like 5 or 6 times over the years, so I know what the Seminoles bring. We had an opportunity to watch them last year over in Tallahassee. It was pretty electric too, but with the passionate Seminole fans. But I do expect Miami to come away with a win. They need it. And then you have a tough battle next week against Duke and former coach Manny Diaz. As for the other game that I'm looking forward to, I alluded to it earlier, Michigan State. But the problem that you have here, okay, is Michigan doesn't know what quarterback they're going to use. I think Warren has been the latest one. You know, Jack Tuttle's been awful. I think Sharon Moore, to be honest with you, is over his head. But they had to promote the internal candidate. But Michigan cannot be down more than 2 or 3 years, or he will be done. Sharon Moore, I do believe, is over his head. And not only that is he over his head, okay? To me, it's a situation where expectations are high at Michigan. If Michigan gets whipped against Ohio State, that won't help matters any. But I cannot believe at this point that Michigan is 4-4, and their last loss to Illinois was a 21-7 score. So they've got to find a way to get the quarterback situation right. There's a chance, man, they may not even qualify for a bowl game, and that's almost impossible not to do these days.
Yeah, I got so many of them. Yeah, it's easy to get one if you get 6 wins. So, all right, Leo.
You know what, guys? I think the biggest game today is Indiana hosting Washington. I mean,
Yeah,
the Hoosiers
that's a good one.
nowhere, and they're a good football team, and they're kind of getting the breaks of travel right now. I think that teams that travel 2 or more time zones in Power 4 play, they've only won 2 games. So again, and Penn State was one of them last week, and that was a struggle. I think Washington's going to be dealing with a struggle here because they're traveling 2,500 miles. They had to go to Rutgers already this year. I mean, it's just like it's like freaking flyer miles for these guys. Candy, I hope you get some good pictures by halftime because that puppy's going to be over by halftime. And here's why. Cam Ward, he has no idea of all this rigmarole with being playing tough. He's going to go out and torch the Seminoles. He's going to torch them. Miami hasn't been held under 38 points. Florida State can't score 38 points against air. So that's telling me this game's going to be over. It's going to be over early. And you know what, guys? There's two games in the SEC you really got to look at: Missouri, Alabama, LSU at Texas A&M. My gosh, the loser if Alabama loses, they're out. You're not going to get in with 3 losses. And LSU and A&M, the winner's going to be sitting in the driver's seat. They're going to be undefeated in the SEC. So the SEC thinking they're going to get 5 teams into the playoffs. They're going to struggle to get 3. So that's going to be my 2 games I'm going to watch later.
So, Leo, let me ask you a question. If I recall correctly, isn't ESPN's College Game Day going to be in Indiana? So, evidently, they must think enough of the Hoosiers, okay, to have that there. What's that?
He used to coach there. He's got his Indiana shirt on. So, it's a wild time out in Bloomington, that's for sure.
Yeah, when ESPN has their signature program going there, then you've earned enough to get there. And I can't remember the last time I've seen Indiana football this relevant, but they are, and they're looking pretty good. I'll do actually a little segment on him on Inside the Pigskin on Tuesday night, so stay tuned for it.
Last time I remember Indiana being relevant, Terry Hebner was their coach, former coach of Miami of Ohio, Ben Roethlisberger's old coach, and then he passed. And since then, they haven't been relevant. I have nothing at all from them. So, but it's great to see Indiana finally getting back into things, like I said, Illinois and a few of the other teams. All right, NFL, we got some great rival games coming up this week. We have Atlanta versus Tampa. We have, the Vikings played the Rams the other night and lost, and the Rams beat the Vikings 30-20, and the Vikings have a losing streak going on. But let's go around to our locals so we can talk about the teams in our area as far as the NFL goes. And start with you, Andy. I know Green Bay Packers are your talk. So Green Bay Packers,
they
this
played
week,
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, yeah. So
in Jacksonville. So I expect Green Bay to do really well against Jacksonville. Jacksonville has been a disappointment this year compared to what we all thought they would, considering how they ended last year. But Green Bay and Matt LaFleur were brilliant when they went and talked to Robert Saleh and brought him in as a consultant, and he's helping. And everybody would think he's helping the defense. No, he's helping the offense tell them what the defense is seeing. So I think that was a brilliant move. Robert Saleh is a very good defensive-minded coach, and I'm really looking forward to his input and what that does for the Packers. Plus, the Packers are a very young team, and we can't forget that. Last year, they were the youngest team in the NFL, so they need a little more molding, I guess, and a little more. They don't have all that. I hate to say this, the head cases, I need it. Well, they do, because let's face it, Romeo Doubs wanted the ball more, but he isn't the Devontae Adams and the cases that, I've proven I'm doing really well. So give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. There isn't that. So I really appreciate them and the coaches really molding this team. And I think as we are in a very tough division, as you can see that division is one of the toughest in the NFL this year.
All right, let's go to the comment section. I'm sorry, Candy.
No, that's fine. You're good.
Real quick here, Bloss 22. Jeremy Ballrich checking in. I know he's had some issues with his back today. So he says the Honolulu Blue flu is a real thing. So much Adam Schefter reporting about it. Bloss 22 says that was crazy. And then also he says, Scott, did you catch the Ohtani game? And then also, let's see here. I think the Balky woke up that team, and when he said that the fire sale and that another team, lo and behold, they woke up both sides of the ball. All right, thank you for checking in, Jeremy. Lost 22 as well, and Josh is back with Blake. Who's your bum? Oh, I don't know who Blake. I know who he's talking about. I don't know if Peter's watching the show or not. I don't know, so I can't say. All right, everyone. Next, Scott Morganroth, NFL games this week.
Well, I'll make the line short and sweet. all of a sudden they don't have any pass rushers. So they better hope the offense picks them up a bit because they're going to need it. They're lucky that the Tennessee Titans are their opponent. And if Jameson Williams not available, look for Allen Robinson, who played locally in high school, to pick up some catches if need be. Miami is pretty obvious. Tua Tagovailoa is due back. We'll find out whether, I don't wish this on anybody, especially head injuries. So I've had my fair share of them. But we're going to find out if he's going to regret that mistake of coming back. Because I'll tell you, he has one or two more concussions. I don't think the decision will be his. And the Dolphins need him, but this is a train wreck organization. It really is. And it's a sinking ship is what it is. So I don't know whether Tua is the savior in this situation or not. I just hope for the young man's sake that he doesn't get hit upstairs one or two more times. Otherwise, it's going to have long-term repercussions. And they're not good.
Oh, no, not at all.
You don't
Leo.
mess with, there's certain things you don't
sorry,
do,
yes.
but you don't mess with hand injury.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Leo. You're next.
We got Atlanta showing up Sunday here to play the Bucks, and the Bucks. I'll tell you what, guys, stick a fork in them. They're done because you got Evans has already been ruled out. Godwin is definitely done for the year. He may be done for his career. We don't know. That's how bad that injury was the other night. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons come in and win because right now the Bucks would run at least 10 of those little slot screens to Godwin a game. Now all of a sudden you got to come up with 10 more plays, and that's that's going to be hard. They got to protect Baker because if he goes down, then the season goes down. The big decision the Bucks have to make is: do we rent a receiver for the rest of the year, or do we just try to, put some fingers in the dike and hope we get through this year, maybe get a couple wins we shouldn't have, and then hope these guys come back. So that'll be tough. USF has a bye week. That's just what's going on here. It's pretty much a slow weekend in Tampa. Going to the Lightning game tonight, though. They're going to be there, and the Washington Capitals show up. But Monday, Steven Stamkos makes his first return to Tampa after 16 years with the Lightning and 2 Stanley Cups. That's going to be must see.
Yeah,
All right.
sure it would. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Okay. This segment was brought to you by Big Dogs Auto in West Mifflin, Buttermilk Collar Road, right by the Allegheny County Airport, as we say here in Pittsburgh County. It's 412-999-0191. Call them today. Tell them Ralph Williams sent you oil change, brakes inspection, much, much more. And the price is not that high either. You don't have to take out a loan. You go see Big Dog Auto and get your car worked on, as you normally do with most other repair shops. They take you to the cleaners. Well, we're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios. You ought to call Mata 724-2010-500 Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. And we're also on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch platforms every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Here at the External Bum Show with me, Ralph Williams, Scott Morganroth, Leo Haggerty, Jeremy Ballrich. And today we're simulcasted on the South Florida Tribune Network on their YouTube and Facebook pages as well. So don't forget to tune in every Saturday for that as well. Let's go back to the comments section here. Let's see what we have. All right. And we have some things here that I'm not going to put up here.
How you doing, Jay? Nice to see you in the chat room, buddy.
Yeah, Jay. Yeah, welcome to the chat room. Let's see here. What do we got with Candy here? It says on the External Air Nugget Show. Yeah, I know, Josh. You got something for everything. I see Candy's name needs to be added to that photo. Yeah, well, Candy came on last minute.
I'm a guest. I'm a guest on the show.
Yeah, so she didn't get a chance to put her name on.
Yeah, Ralph, I didn't realize you had a sense of humor.
I always have a sense of humor.
Yeah, but Joshua obviously feels you've taken it to a different level.
Yeah, exactly. I have a sense of humor. I can make it laugh. So
There you go, Ralph. There's hope for you in this business.
Hey, you know what?
Ralph.
If you don't have fun in life, forget it. That's the way I look at it. Gotta have fun sometime. Despite the fact I have all the health issues I have a lot of fun and I love doing this.
Let me tell
And,
you something, Ralph. I got just as many as you two, not more. So,
right.
misery breeds company, but we're not miserable. We're just having fun on this.
We're just having fun, exactly, Scott. And we don't let
Well,
our
we have a
illnesses
new bum here. It's called the medications that we have to take in order to stay afloat.
stay afloat. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I take so many medications. I think I can open up a drugstore. All right, I'm curious as to the people think Candy ruining the Mets' chances at the World Series. You must have jinxed them or something, Candy.
Yeah, Jay, bury it, man.
That's because I had brought up the stat that every time a team had taken the Brewers out in the playoffs, they had gone to the World Series. This is the one time that it didn't happen. So, Jay, you're thinking that I curse the Mets, maybe.
We can finally bury that stat.
We can.
Absolutely.
Can't use it next year or anymore after that.
Nope.
Amen, Jeremy.
All right, we're getting ready for our closing segment, which is local, and we can do that within our sponsor for this segment is the original Hometown Pizza, Moon Township, right on University Boulevard, 412-264-4444. I know you're in town for the game. Steeler game coming up Monday night. If you're spending the weekend, stop by the original Hometown Pizza. If you're going to see the Robert Morris game, or if you're going to go to any kind of football game or any event, and maybe you're tired, don't want to cook, stop by the original Hometown Pizza for some great pizza and also at a great price. Call them today, 412-264-4444, University Boulevard, Moon Township. Tell them Ralph Williams sent you, and you will get a discount on your order. All right, now let's go to our local, and I'll start it off today. I normally am last, but I'll start it off today. Steelers are playing the Giants Monday night. Russell Wilson gets the second start. As usual, there's the fans are, quarterback controversy making it into one, which it's not. Russell Wilson was promised the starting job from the get-go, and I knew Tomlin was going to go with them. I think we're going to beat the Giants. It's an interesting scenario. One thing Chris Collinsworth did indicate Sunday night, and I had this argument with my co-hosts on my radio show. He said the one thing about Pittsburgh is they want to win Super Bowls. Well, my question right now is, if the Steelers really want to win a Super Bowl, why were they 9-8 mediocre since 2016? That's the question I have for everyone here. Okay, I know maybe Art Rooney II does want to win a Super Bowl. Maybe I don't know, but I do know one thing: the Steelers don't ever want to be wrong, and I'm wondering if Art Rooney II doesn't want to be wrong on the fact that he hired Mike Tomlin. And again, Mike Tomlin has won a lot of games in the regular season, but the NFL is about Super Bowls. And so far, he's won one, lost one. And I don't know with Russell Wilson, my co-host Smoking Jim Frazier says he thinks we're going to the Super Bowl this year. We will find out what the Steelers do. But right now, I don't know what anyone else sees. I don't see Super Bowls. We haven't been in a playoff, haven't been in a substantial playoff game since 2016. That's the last time we actually won a playoff game. So something has to be said for when Collinsworth says, well, the Steelers want to win Super Bowls. Well, if you want to win Super Bowls, I want to know where they are. So that's my, my local today as well. Penguins, they stuck the joint up again last night. Lost to Edmonton 5-0. I'm not sure exactly where they're going in the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Play their final regular season game tonight. They made a playoff spot in the USL playoffs. Candy, you're local.
Well, here, let me say one
Okay,
thing to combat that. Let's everybody on this crew say, "Oh, I feel so bad for Ralphie," because all you do is have 5 or 6 Super Bowls in your trophy case. You got a bunch of Hall of Famers, and you have a coach that even if you let him go, that he'd get a job so cotton picking fast. In my opinion, Ralph, I'm sorry. We're going to say, to Ralphie Williams, because after all, they don't have one lately, but they got a whole lot more than a bunch of franchises that haven't even won one to begin with. So, and the fact that they have a coach that always wins despite what you have, it doesn't matter, Ralph. Things could be worse in other markets. So, as much as I want to sit here and blame Mike Tomlin because he don't have enough, we're worried about this quarterback. Well, we're going to rename this show as The Steelers Turn, narrated by Ralphie Williams. I feel so bad. I'm all crying. Not. Seriously? Really?
No, I mean, seriously.
I mean, don't give me your comeback. You don't have a comeback, pal.
I have a
You know,
comeback.
wait.
It's about
No.
winning Super Bowls, Scott. That's
Oh,
what the NFL's all about. When you don't win, well, so we won 6 Super Bowls. Okay, that's great. We could have had 10. We could have had 12.
Oh, I
If
feel so bad. You could have had 10 or 12. Hey, let's get into an argument, Ralph. I love it, brother. Bring
Mike
it on.
Tomlin has blew it for the last several years. He's been nothing but mediocre.
So
I don't care
what?
how many games he won.
So
All
what?
right.
Let's get into an argument, Ralph. This is what everybody wants to see out there. Then you're going to have the chat room buzzing. Your numbers are never going to be higher than this. Let me tell you, I feel so bad you don't have enough Super Bowls. God almighty. The Buffalo Bills been to the Super Bowl 4 times, haven't even won one. What taste do you have there, Ralph? Seriously? I'm going to tell you, I don't care if you're the host of this damn show. So what? The bottom line is I don't feel sorry for the Steelers. They're a franchise that is iconic. They've only had 3 head coaches in 9 zillion years. Really, Ralph? Seriously? Really?
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. I love yelling at my brother. But the bottom line is I'm sick and tired of you complaining about the Steelers. I am so sick and tired. Other NFL cities. Wait, don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. Other NFL, don't interrupt. And other NFL cities have it a whole lot worse than yours. It could be a whole lot worse. I'm telling you, if you want to live in another city, then I'm going to proclaim you as my bum today because everybody feel bad about Ralphie Williams. I'm telling you, life is so bad. I got more medications than politicians tell life. And by the way, we have an election coming up. So, Ralph, I love you, my brother. But I am not sitting here and drinking the Ralph Williams Kool-Aid about how many Super Bowls the Steelers should have or they shouldn't have. We'll see what Russell Wilson does. He may not make it the rest of the year. We never know. But as the quarterback third, and I got Ralph Williams cranking, and now the chat room is cranking, and that's the show what? Only in America. I'm not Don King. I'm the Motor City Man Mouse, although I'm not doing it today. But I am here. I am here. So there, Ralph. I don't want to hear any more of your Steeler complaints about Super Bowls. Wave the right flag, Ralph. You ain't going to win this one. But I got him going. Only in America. Only in Deerfield Beach, Florida, which is where we're from.
All right, Candy. You're local.
You feel better now, Ralph?
I always feel better.
Good man.
So Ralph, with your same logic, I should be saying that the Packers should have way more Super Bowl wins because they had Aaron Rodgers for how many years and he only has 1. Brett Favre only has 1. So I can't drink that same Kool-Aid though. But I'm looking forward to the Packers coming down to Jacksonville, playing Jacksonville tomorrow. I'm looking forward to tonight's game, FSU coming down to Miami. I'll be on that field taking pictures. That's one of my joys. Penn State playing Wisconsin today. They're at least at Wisconsin. So Candy Loki did a brag session. Sorry, Jay, but I was just trying to, with Ralph's logic, trying to, real. I mean, then we could talk about the Milwaukee Brewers because we haven't won the World Series either. So I can go in and say that, and we've made the playoffs how many times? So we can all get kind of, put our little digs in there. But I'm looking forward to tonight's game, honestly. I really enjoy football is my first sport that I love, and to be able to take pictures on the field, I can't thank Scott enough for getting me into this role and, running with it. So.
All right.
And by the way, the Brewers have been to a World Series since '82, but I'll tell you, they've been competitive for a small market team. They really have to give them a lot of credit. They make a lot out of the market size that they're in.
Yes.
So yeah, and by the way, Ralph, don't feel too bad. Dan Marino's never even been. He's only been to 1 Super Bowl and never won a Super Bowl ring. So everybody's saying, "Oh, Ralph." Go ahead, Leo.
Go ahead, Leo.
I already did my local, so guys, I'm just waving a white flag.
All right, you want mine? As if you want a bigger beating than the one that you've had already? Okay, well, let's just see if there's enough Tylenol 10 to see what happens to Tua. Because I'll tell you, the Dolphins are so depleted at quarterback, they've even had to turn back to Tim Boyle.
Wow.
Wow, breaking news here. Spirit's selling off their airplanes and cutting jobs. I heard they're filed for bankruptcy. That affects Florida because they fly to Florida.
Yeah, I feel bad too because the last Kmart store that was a full size one
Yeah.
was out of business, and now they have a
Yes.
small one. So I'll tell you, with all these moments about the Steelers not being able to meet Ralph's criteria of 9 million Super Bowls, oh, everybody's always picking on Ralph Williams. Why is that the case? Even though he's
Nobody
the host
picks
of
on me.
this show?
The only people that mess with me is I get disrespect from my media colleagues. Now, some of them, not all. And you know, I don't take it to heart. I do what I do. If you don't like me, too bad. You know?
Well, that's okay. You're coming along real good in our developmental program. I'm proud of you, Ralph. You come a long
Thank
way. You know, but hey, listen, Ralph, you know, you remind me of one of the nicest guys I ever grew up with. And his name was Harold Kowal. Let him rest in peace. You got to treat this like a chess game, and Candy knows about him. He's in the book if you ever read about him. And you know what, Ralph? I've never seen a nicer guy in this industry than you. I never have. Even though you're an entitled Pittsburgh Steeler that has 6 Super Bowl trophies. And if that isn't bad enough, the Pittsburgh Penguins have done well. And well, you know, it's been a while since the Pirates have done anything.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? This kid was in divorce court. And the judge says to the kid, son, I can't make my mind up who I want you to live with, your mommy or your daddy. And the kid says, Your Honor, I don't want to live with either one of them. They beat me. And the judge says, well, son, you got to live with somebody. He said, I want to live with the Pittsburgh Pirates. They don't beat anybody.
Well, then we're going to talk about daddy talk here, even though we're past Father's Day. Once upon a time, Pedro Martinez said that the New York Yankees were his daddy. And by the way, he sent Don Zimmer right there when that boneheaded guy went out there and tried to fight him. And I once asked him a question about that. He didn't want to do the interview because that old senile sickened head didn't want to answer a question where he had no business being in the outfield going after Pedro. So I didn't care about Zimmer anyways. I'm thinking, how can an older guy like him get into a fight? And then when I asked him about it, he quickly ran away, of course, as quickly as an old man like him could run away from the road.
When he was with the Yankees. I do remember him.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah,
He
a
was
lot
with
of
the
history.
I got to jump off here shortly, so let's wrap her up.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no problem, Leo. We're getting ready to do that right now. Scott, you have anything to add with your local or anything like that?
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, bottom line is I've said my piece about the Miami Dolphins. What's the
Yes.
over-under of Tua Tagovailoa making it through the next game? Although he has the Arizona Cardinals, that should help him get through 4 quarters.
Okay.
But nowadays, we're betting on everything. We might as well bet on that.
All right, everybody. We'll start with you, Scott. Let's get your closing in here. How can people get a hold of you and what's going on?
You know what? I'm going to let Candy do that for me. But lessons from the microphone is what's going on tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders by yours truly, Old School Media versus New School Media. A good book for not only people getting into the business, but students as well. And I think in 2025, I'm going to be pushing the student market really, really hard. Candy will take care of the rest for me.
Scott, that book is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Apple, and Google Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, a link to get that book, a link for our merchandise, and a whole lot of good reading, a lot of different content on there. We get stuff from the Jags, the Dolphins, the Lions, a lot of college football down here in Florida. We get stuff from the Canes, the Gators, the Seminoles, USF, and FAU. I take pictures. You can see some of those on there. We have our own YouTube channel, Florida Tribune YouTube. Subscribe to us as well. We appreciate everybody that's been in this chat room. We love all the interaction. We have our own podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, we're there as well. Thanks, Ralph, for having me.
You're welcome, Candy, anytime. And
one last thing I want to add is last thing I do want to add. Rest in peace, Coach, the unbelievable Raheem. I'll never forget you. Love you, man.
All right, Leo, go with your closing because I know you got to go.
Just go to ampedupsports.com. Go to Amped Up Sports on YouTube, Facebook, and I'm going to echo what Scott said. Coach Amir, you left us too soon, brother.
One more thing, Ralph. I forgot to say I am on a Chicks podcast on Tuesday night, 7:30. It's 3 Chicks in a Pod or Chicks in Salsa, and we're Chicks talking sports. A lot of times you just never know what we're going to be talking about. We get into a lot of different topics as well. So catch us 7:30 Tuesday nights.
Scott, your closing stuff.
My closing thoughts, your show's getting better every week. It's a hell of a lot.
It is. I love when we go back and forth. It's great.
Yeah, I especially like going back and forth with you. I think it's a blast. No, I think the show's improving. I mean, see,
it is. And real soon, I'm working on getting us on Huddle Sports Network, so we're going to be on there as well. And I'm working on our Roku channel. So
when your chat room gets this active and you're forced to extend shows, Mr. Williams, that's called progress, as they call it in Canada.
That's right. That's exactly right. And being simulcasted on your network this morning really helped.
Because the brains of the family is doing it.
Right.
I couldn't do it if I tried. Wow.
All right. Let's. I'm going to get all these in real quick here so we can wrap it up here. There we go. All right. Great show, says Jeremy. Thank you. Thank you all for your participation in the comment section today. You can reach me I'm on YouTube. I have my own channel, Ralph Williams, RW Media. Please subscribe. I need 24 more subscribers to make 200. My goal is to make 200 by the end of the year. Call your friend, call your cousin, call somebody, get them subscribing to my YouTube channel so we can get to 200. My goal by the end of the year. I have a whole bunch of shows on there. Check them all out, including the External Bum Sports Corner, Ralph's Opinion Local, the Bible Capsule, and a whole lot more. Tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. Bible Capsule. We're talking about faith, and I'll have some scripture about faith tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on the Bible Capsule. No post game for the Steelers until after the bye, because we only do the afternoon games on post game. We don't do evening and night games that go into the wee hours of the night kind of thing. So, and also please do not forget about my radio show today, 2 o'clock this afternoon, the Sports Corner radio show, 1250 AM, 92.5 The Answer. It's every Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m. Me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. For Scott Morganroth, Leo Haggerty, and Candy Ebling, I'm Ralph Williams. You have yourselves a great day, and please be safe. Thank you.